Okay, let's try that again. I'm sorry if you caught my very brief video a moment ago. I was just having some technical issues. So I'm just going to check that I am in fact live in the right place. And hopefully I am the right way round now as well. So good evening, thank you for joining me. If you are joining me live, I would love it if you would leave me a comment, let me know that you're watching. So I'm going to start today. So today is the first day of my 12 days of Crafty Christmas. It's a series that I brought to you last year and I am very excited to be bringing it back for this year. So for the first day today I am live. There will be some pre-recorded videos as well coming up over the next 12 days. Well, today is day 1, so the next 11 days. So I'm going to start off just by bringing to your attention, just in case you haven't seen already, so there will be a new mini catalogue starting in January, and celebration starts on the 7th of January 2025. I can only show you the front cover of the brochures at the moment. When they go live I'll be able to show you the inside, but if you would like a copy of either catalogue, let me know and I can get one sent out to you and you can have a little look and see what's inside. Hi Jill, thank you so much for joining me. It's really nice to be able to come to you live. So I said in my Instagram video announcing that I was going to be going live that I would be showing the projects from yesterday's Christmas party that we had for the UK and Ireland. So I'm just going to show you the projects that I created. So because we had the measurements sent out to us on the Friday, I did do my cutting ahead of time and I cut kits from, oh they're upside down, hang on. I cut kits for me to be able to do 2 cards of each of the 4 projects. So yeah, I just thought I would show you those. So that was using the Regal Winter suite, and I love the colours in this suite. It's not a paper that I've reached for very much, and I don't really know why, because I actually love it. It's really pretty. Did you join for that yesterday, Jill? Were you crafting along? I know some people were having issues with power outages and things with the storm. So I am going to get started on today's project. So I'm starting off with some basic white cardstock and I'm going to cut a standard card base, but I'm going to cut at 10.5 centimetres and score at 14.85 because the card today is going to be a landscape card. I'm hoping that I'm not having too many connection issues. It is very, very windy here. Not as bad as in some areas of the country, but I'm hoping that our internet signal is not going to be affected. Oh, you missed most of the party because you were at work. Oh, what a shame. Hopefully you can watch it on catch up. I think the videos are sticking around in the group. I think Helen said until the 13th. So that's my card base, and then I'm going to cut a front panel as well. So I'm going to go 0.5 centimetre smaller. So I'm going to cut at 14.35, and then I'm going to turn it around and just trim off 0.5 centimetre. So that is my cutting done. And then I'm going to, so my front panel, I'm going to be embossing with the Snowflake Sky embossing folder, which is this one here. Definitely a firm favourite of mine at the moment. I seem to be using it all the time. And because my card is going to open, it's going to be landscape, I'm making sure that I'm putting my cardstock in the right way around, because I have definitely done that before where I've run it through the machine and then found that actually I've done it the wrong way and then had to do it again. So my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is just off to the side, so I'm just running that through in the sandwich with plates 1 and 4. And then we've got our lovely embossed panel. And then let's do some stamping. So I am going to be using the Yuletide Village stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping the church, and I think I might do the tree as well. Let's grab those out. Probably should have got a bigger block for this. There's that one, and then my tree. And then I'm going to do some blending, so I'm going to use my memento. And then let's stamp our church. I'm sorry if that's a bit wobbly. There's our church. And then, whoops, stamp the tree. I'm going to fussy cut these so they can be a little bit further apart. And I probably should have used my Stampin' Pierce mat, which I have got right here, but didn't pop it underneath. But never mind. So that tree didn't quite come out, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to bring in some blends. So I have got light and dark crumb cake, light and dark grey granite, light Cajun craze, light old olive, light cherry cobbler, and then I haven't decided whether I'd like lights in the windows or not, so I've brought in light pool party and light wild wheat. So I am just going to get started. So I'm starting off with the light crumb cake, and I'm going to colour in our little church. I keep getting the little notification that says I've got a slow connection. I'm hoping it's not causing too many problems. Hopefully you can still see me. So I'm just colouring over the main parts of the building with the light crumb cake. And then I'm going to come through and do the kind of roof and the sills and things in the dark crumb cake. And one thing that I really like about the Stampin' blends is you don't have to be super precise. They're really forgiving. Definitely a really good colouring tool if you're not super confident. I really like the blends. I use the blends all the time. Okay, and then our dark crumb cake. So I'm going to do my roof. And then I think I'm going to do it as though the snow's kind of sliding down the roof. So we'll colour in those top sections like that. And then our little window sills. I might actually just colour the whole of that on the top of my church. That's better. And then, oh, I missed around the inside of my wreath. Just come back in. And again, I don't have to be super precise. And then I'm going to use my light old olive to colour in the wreath. And then the cherry cobbler for the bow on the wreath. I love this stamp set. I'm going to be really sad to see it go. Let's colour the door next. We'll go with our... So this is the light... Oh, I said Cajun Craze. It's not. It's light copper clay. For my lovely wooden door on my church. And then I'm going to do the steps in the dark grey granite. All the way around. There we go. Like that. And then I'm going to colour in my tree. I should have done that while I coloured the wreath, but never mind. Colour that in. I'll just come back and add a little bit more in some areas just to add a little bit of shading. And then I think I will add a little bit of kind of light in my windows. So just kind of adding a little bit of that wild wheat, and then I'm going to fill in the rest with the pool party. Kind of blend them together a little bit, just so that it's kind of the idea that there is some light going on, and then that little top one I'm just going to colour in the pool party. And then I'm going to add some definition to my snow, so I'm going to use my light grey granite. And I'm just going to go along the bottom of my little kind of snowbank. Again, not super precise, I'm just sort of following the line of the stamping really. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow on the roof, like that, and that's my church coloured in. Oh, sorry, a bit wobbly. And then I'm going to colour my tree. Again, in that light old olive. My dodgy connection, I'm not sure if there are any more comments. I can't see, it just says slow connection. So if you are joining me and you have left a comment, I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you. Oh, I just can't see it at the moment. So just colour in the rest of that tree, add in a little bit more of that colour in some places for a bit of a shadow, a little bit of depth. You could come in with the dark blend, but I think that will do just fine. So now I'm gonna fussy cut around my tree, and then I'm gonna hold off on my church for a minute. So just super quickly, I love our paper snips. They are probably my most used tool, and I used to really hate the fussy cutting. And then I can't remember who shared with me the tip, but somebody told me that the best way to do it is to move the paper and not the scissors. And since then, I have to say I do love a bit of fussy cutting. I don't want to do it all the time, but I like a bit of fussy cutting. And these shapes are super quick to cut around. There you go, so there's our tree ready. I'm just going to pop that off to one side. And then I have already done a little bit of die cutting. So I have die cut in Night of Navy with one of the Spotlight on Nature dies. And I'm going to be adding my church onto my circle. And then I'm thinking I might actually cover up that little tree and pop the bigger tree on some dimensionals, like a big kind of town Christmas tree. So I'm going to leave the bottom section as it is for now, and I'm just going to fussy cut round the top. So just kind of come in from the side, because I want to pop it on my circle and decide where I want it to be, and then I'm going to cut around the bottom of my circle. So it becomes like a little snowy scene. And then, so yeah, just moving the paper and not my scissors. Just get some of that bulk out of the way. And then down the other side. I'm sorry if it sounds really noisy. It is very windy outside. I think we kind of probably had most of the worst of it yesterday evening. Kind of yesterday evening and into this morning. But it is definitely still really windy out there. I hope everybody is doing okay. So I'm not, like I say, I'm going to put that larger tree over the top of this tree, so I'm not going to be too fussy cutting around it, but I don't want to cut it off because I want to be able to pop my dimensional on it and pop the bigger tree in front. So this is kind of where I'm going. So I'm going to kind of have my church, my circle. I'm going to cut round the bottom. I'm going to pop the town Christmas tree on a dimensional in the front, but I think I want a little bit of kind of something snowy going on in the background, so I think I might do a bit of splatting. Doing splatting always makes me a little bit nervous when I'm kind of splatting with ink, because I'm generally not very good at it and normally end up kind of just making a bit of a mess, but we're going to give it a go. So I have got my Whisper White ink pad and I'm just going to dip my block into it to pick up some colour. And I haven't put water in my water brush. That's not very helpful. Let me just grab some. Got a bottle here off to the side. Just pour a little bit in. Only need a tiny bit. Just enough to make that ink kind of flickable. And then I'm just gonna squeeze down to get a little bit of that wet down, a couple of drops like that, and then just gonna flick that ink. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. I'm just going to kind of keep going with it. Trying not to kind of squeeze too much water out. I don't want to dilute it down too much. I don't know how well you can see. I don't know if the light's kind of picking that up very much or not. But in person it does look a little bit snowy. I did contemplate doing heat embossing, but I didn't think you'd want to listen to the heat tool. So let's get my tree stuck down. So I'm just going to use some of my Stampin' Seal, my second most used thing in my craft room. So I'm popping it down so that the edge of my paper is kind of at the bottom of that circle. So I turn that over, you can see I've kind of gone up to the edge, and I'm not going to worry about the little holes around the edge that I'm covering over. And then I'm just going to, with it turned over, I'm just going to trim around that circle. With my snips. We've got a little bit of a kind of corner there. Let's tidy that up a little bit. There we go, that's better. And then I'm going to pop my tree on some dimensionals, and I don't mind if my tree is a tiny bit over. Grab my dimensionals. One's probably enough really, but we'll add a half. I am firmly in camp full-size dimensionals. I know some people really like the minis. I know Kerry always opts for the mini ones, but I would much rather use a full-size dimensional and cut it down than use the minis. It's funny, isn't it, how it all a little bit different. There we go, there's my tree stuck down, and then there we go. And then let's bring back in my card base and my front panel. So I'm going to stick my front panel on flat. I've done that a couple of times recently where I've somehow lifted the cardstock. Something in my technique, but I don't know what it is that I did wrong to make it happen. So a nice even border all the way around, and then our little circle I'm going to pop up on dimensionals. So it's going to be double dimensionals, but never mind, I don't think. I'm sure I can find a recipient that where I don't have to pop it in the post. So take the backs off my dimensionals. I'm still not seeing any comments. I don't know if there are any new ones. I really should use my take your pick tool to take those off. It would make life a lot easier. And then I could pop this in the centre. So my plan is to not have a sentiment, but I should have decided where I wanted to put it before I took the backs off the dimensionals. I don't know whether to have it kind of off to the side or in the centre. Maybe we'll go with in the centre. My sample card that I made, I had it off to the side. And then I'm just going to add a couple of the iridescent pearl basic jewels. It's a mouthful, isn't it? And then we'll just kind of pop a couple here and there in the background. I'm not very good at deciding where to put them, so quite often I will pop embellishments on and then think I'm done, and then I'll come back and I'll look at it again and go, oh no, I don't know that I like that there, and then I'll take them off and move them around. Like that. I don't feel very confident with that placement, but never mind, I'll probably shuffle them around. So there we go, that's it, that's the card for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back again tomorrow. My video for day 2 will be going straight onto YouTube, and I'll pop the link here in Facebook as well. Yeah, so I hope you'll join me for that one, and I will be back again very soon with another live. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, thanks Jill, that's so kind. Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye.